Hello everybody, my name is the Bucket Man, and today I'm bringing you a video about BlockTales. In this video, I would like to talk about Tutorial Terry, the very first NPC that we talked to when we opened the game to BlockTales. Before I like to continue with this video, I would really like to thank my team who helped me find footage and speak theories on this person. My team consists of Mr. Bendy Star, Mr. Green Palmer, and Tiramisu. I would like to thank them very much for assisting me into finding what we have today. I would also like to thank all the developers at BlockTales for giving us such a wonderful game packed with RPG elements, Paper Mario references, Motherbound references, unique dialogues that they spent their hearts. So I would leave a like, a favorite, and their game in my description, because if you haven't played this game yet, I heavily suggest you do and explore before you even watch this video. I would like to mention that there's going to be spoilers ahead for Demo 1 that recently came out. And without further ado, let's think about Terry. At the very beginning of the game, we meet Tutorial Terry in his hotel room, where we're kindly sleeping in his bed. Now, he kindly asks us to leave his bedroom and obviously talk about a mail that goes for us. But before we even start that dialogue, we have a funny option called "How about I kill you?", which will go into an improv battle, which it will be you versus Terry. Terry has 100 health, and you'll be like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. So you will spend your first 2 turns attacking Terry, dealing, if you know how to do the game, a total of 96 damage in total. And then his turn will come up, which he will use an item called the Penguin Missile, which pretty much just means that he will one-shot you by the sheer force, KOing you, and you will quote-unquote die. And then that timeline has been reset back where Terry first asked you if you had a good nap. During that battle, after you lose, a badge will show up called Pay the Price, which is pretty funny. And when you read the description of that badge, it says Angered the Gods. A little weird thing for Tutorial Terry, since he's supposed to be our tutorial. Now, I believe in just that phase that Terry already kills us. Even if we threaten him, it's still a bit weird that he's willing to scrap down with a nobody in his room who threatened him. I understand. But is it a little bit weird that he just wipes the floor with us and then just resets the timeline, as that timeline is no longer void? Just something to think about. During our exploration of the game, after prologue, we will meet a penguin called Penguin in the secret entrance in Roadtown, who will give us a sketch about a penguin and a human. And the penguin is launching itself akin to a missile towards the human. Now, in the Terry battle, he uses a special rocket launcher called the Penguin Missile. It's still a little bit weird, which is again over to speculation, but it's funny that Penguin draws that timeline where it's a possibility that penguin is Terry shooting a coat to a missile to us. When we speak with Terry, he calls us a whack job and thinks that we are a little bit irregular, as he believes already that we do not belong in that timeline and that we smell funny, and then proceeds to keep tabs on us. It's still a bit of a weird coincidence that Terry decides to follow or be ahead of us during the story that comes, as in prologue to be exact, is right before we come back to get the wooden sword, Terry comes behind us and gives us a card called Power Stack, and then retreats back into the town just for him to be in the cave trying to get a HP plus card. And then you later on in the story, you end up seeing him again a third time while rescuing Jim, who comes behind you saying that we're everywhere, may I add, and teaches us how to use dynamite, and then leaves after insulting Jim. And he does not check if we ever free Jim. So again, there's some moral implications already that Terry does not care about human life and doesn't seem to care about anyone else except for himself. And then when we reach inside Blackrock's castle, after messing up the cooking ingredient, he beats up a wizard, takes his hat, somehow flies up, which I 100% believe he could do in the first place, teaches us about shrinking, and then disappears because he smells fish. It's still again weird that Terry follows us into the entirety of the demo, complains about us, and then that's it for now. Since only demo 1 came out, we also have limited information. But I still believe that is a bit weird that Terry is not only following us, aiding us, and insulting us, but he seems to be ahead of us somehow, as he will always be there when a crucial moment of the game happens, excluding the sword at the end of at the end of demo 1. But it is still weird, and I still am curious on why he follows us. During the beginning of the game, when we speak with Terry, we tell him that we come from the future, that Builderman himself has been kidnapped, and that's it. We did not devolve into any of the swords on the height. And he does say that, hey, you have a letter. Now, I understand that it's a letter directed to his room, but I believe that he read that letter without our consent. Mail fraud! Apart from that, I believe that once we go inside the Roblox HQ, we realize that there's damage around the HQ. Seems like floor seems to be missing, like it's been shot from under. And then there's a big damage right before we go meet Mr. Seltsky. And then I started to realize a few things with my team. Hey, red and blue isn't that physically strong. As we can tell that red and blue have swords. Why is there that big much damage around the HQ? And then when you look at cells, it seems like there's an explosive radius at the bottom, right under him. When you really think about it, red and blue only has swords. Nublador only has a ball and an elbow drop. And it seems like Cells has been dragged through the floor. Like, it was such an amount of force. And he says, they took him. Don't let him get away. Go find the swords. And now that I really think about it, I think Terry himself went to Roblox HQ and took care of Selsby, and then let red and blue finish him off before our arrival. It is a shot in the dark, but recently, with all the actions that we already know, that he's willing to scrap down with anybody. He seems to follow us no matter where we go. He seems to just casually beat up wizards. What does that not mean that he would beat up Selsby? I 100% believe that Terry himself is willing to agasp himself to get powerful, as he will just use us into getting the sword. I do believe that Terry himself is an evil man, and he is not our guardian angel, and he's not here to help us, but to help himself. Again, you would say to us, but it's weird because he helps us learn the game. You're right. He helps us to help himself. As we get more powerful, Terry sees our potential and is probably looking for his best fight of his life. Or he's willing to steal it from us when we least expect it. Okay, Mr. Bucketman, you believe that Terry is evil. Yeah, 100%. I believe that Terry is evil. I believe that since the beginning of the game, where in our original timeline that Terry has all the swords, and we are not strong enough to fight him. Hence why we have the reason that we can choose to deck out with Terry at the beginning of the game. Is in an original timeline, Terry becomes a god. Hence the description of the badge. That is just a theory, it's not 100% sure, but that's what I wholeheartedly believe. And some of my team members too. Now, let's go a little bit further back into our original timeline. Is us being back, and we are changing the future of 2010. Or she'll call that what Terry says. We do not actually know how far we were sent back, because in a different dialogue with a certain other NPC, he mentions that we're in 2013, and then later on in the library in Bizville, there's an arthro that hasn't been come out until I believe in 2015, 2016. So there are some validity where there are some timeline warping, and I think we're gonna see that in the future. Is our actions being in that current timeline is where we're gonna change a lot of stuff, and the outcome could be for better or for worse depending on our actions in the game. Is the morality system of leaving Jim or saving Jim, or getting this little girl's kids, or hitting the balloons in the clown, could have some sort of ramifications later on. We do not know yet until the game comes out and it's demo 2. Now, there was a QA system, there was a Q&A with, I believe, Ivan, one of the lead animators of BlockTales, where he answered a few questions where he doesn't know full-heartedly yet, as some of it is his speculation, but he knows more than he lets on. And I was able to speak to him on certain topics, some about Terry and some about lore about the game. Is I spent maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of just recording just to find dialogue in the game of every person, and there are a few ones that are a little bit weird in terms of lore wise. Anyway, Terry is not a good guy. I wholeheartedly believe that his name, Tutorial Terry, is not his actual name, but in fact Terror Terry, as we all know that he's willing to shoot down anyone that messes with him, and that includes us. We'll find out later if he actually does turn evil. Before this video ends, I would like to thank the developers of BlockTales once again for giving us such a wonderful game, for having such a wonderful community. And we're hoping for Demo 2 to be released soon, but we cannot rest perfection. I would also like to thank my BlockTales team, who helped me find lore about this game. And I would also like to thank Ian for drawing those 3 pictures that were so important for me to reference on Terry. I would like to thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, suggestions, lore information, feel free to DM me in the game, find me in the game, VC with me, and I'm all fun. I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and have a blessed day. You know, recording some of these lines is actually pretty hard, because then I have to deal with like the weird stuff that happens outside, like that car alarm that's been beeping for like 10 minutes, and I have to stop recording for 10 minutes. And then I have Discord pings where I said really put Discord on like no pinging mode. Man, I'm not the smartest person to do this video.